Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're uncovering the absolutely dramatic reality of a 14th century maritime terror who literally ruled the southern seas. Forget those fictionalized versions of high seas adventure. We're diving straight into the historical records to trace the life of a man whose actions sent shockwaves all across Europe. So who exactly was the infamous privateer dominating the waters a full 2 centuries before legendary names like Blackbeard or Long John Silver even existed? I mean, we're talking about an era way before the golden age of piracy. This was a time when the laws of the ocean were just incredibly, violently contested. We so often picture pirates as these kind of cartoonish characters, right? The colorful parrots on the shoulder, the shiny hook hands, maybe a friendly, toothy grin. But the historical reality of the 1300s, well, it was far more gritty, grueling, and downright dangerous than any of those modern myths would have us believe. Enter the real Henry Paye. Born around 1364 in the coastal town of Poole, Dorset, this was a man whose life totally blurred the lines between state-sanctioned naval hero and, well, completely ruthless smuggler. Operating in the late 14th and early 15th centuries, he eventually rose to become a recognized commander in the English Cinque Ports fleet. But, as you'll see, that official title didn't exactly stop his illicit side hustles. Section 1. Life on a pirate ship. To really get Paye, we've got to look at the harsh daily reality of his crew. Look, their days weren't just spent plundering treasure, they were executing intense, really backbreaking chores. We're talking about mastering the complex navigation of the port and starboard sides and spending hours climbing this absolutely perilous ship rigging just to keep the sails functioning. Oh, and relentlessly scrubbing the wooden decks. Plus, there was the sheer danger of carefully docking these massive, heavy wooden vessels in super tight harbors or right up against jagged rocky cliffs. It was literally a life of constant, grueling physical labor. Section 2. Raids, Riches, and Harry Paye. All right, with our sea legs established, let's look at the wild dichotomy of Paye's life. Because to the English crown, he was Henry Paye, a highly respected commander in the Cinque Ports fleet, a man serving a totally legitimate naval purpose. But to the Spanish and French coasts that he relentlessly ravaged, he was known as Harry Paye, a dreaded, ruthless pirate whose very name literally sparked terror. And his actions weren't just isolated little incidents. They built into this incredible timeline of escalation. It really kicked off in 1398, when Paye brazenly led a naval raid all the way to Cape Finisterre in Spain. He raided the Church of St. Mary and actually stole a highly valuable crucifix. And from there, the scale of his conflicts just exploded. He led his fleet along the coasts from Normandy straight down through the Bay of Biscay. Over his career, we're talking about intercepting hundreds of French ships. And what was he taking? Well, sure, he plundered vast riches of gold and fine wine. But what's really surprising is that he also seized exotic fruits. He'd bring these incredible, super rare bounties directly back to the people of his hometown of Poole, which, let's be honest, definitely cemented his status as a local hero, regardless of where those goods actually came from. But we can't forget that he wasn't just some maritime thief. He was a violent conqueror. The historical records tell us he actually burnt entire Spanish towns, like Gijon and Finisterre, completely to the ground, taking many prisoners to exact heavy ransoms. Actually, he was such a formidable naval force that he even helped the English crown quell the Welsh revolts brought about by Owain Glyndwr. He did this by intercepting and totally defeating a French fleet that was sent to aid the uprising. Talk about a major flex. Section 3. The Attack on Poole. Of course, you can't go around burning down foreign towns without expecting them to eventually come for yours, right? Well, the reckoning came in 1405. A massive combined fleet of French and Spanish ships sailed straight into Poole Harbor. And this wasn't some random skirmish. No, this was a targeted, direct, and bloody retaliation for Paye's relentless raids on their coastlines. They were looking for Harry Paye. The invaders hit the town incredibly hard. They immediately looted arms and vital stores, and even set a huge local warehouse ablaze. But the townspeople of Poole, they fought back fiercely, and somehow actually managed to drive this massive fleet back to their ships. But here is the really bitter irony of the whole attack. Paye himself wasn't even in Poole during the raid. Tragically, though, his own brother was caught in the carnage and was actually among those killed by the attackers. So, did this devastating personal loss stop him or slow him down? Not at all. It's almost hard to wrap your head around, but historical records show a jaw-dropping number. 120. That's the number of French prizes he captured in a single expedition the very next year. Yeah, in 1406, clearly unfazed by the attack on his home, Paye launched an expedition off the coast of Brittany. And those 120 captured French ships, they were heavily laden with highly valuable cargo like iron, salt, and oil. Seriously, capturing a staggering haul of that size permanently cemented his status as just an absolute maritime titan of his era. Section 4. A lasting pirate legacy. So it really forces us to wonder, how exactly do we remember such a complex figure? A guy who brought immense wealth to his community, but also brought devastating retaliation straight to their doorstep. Well, Paye eventually died in 1419 and was buried in a parish church in Faversham, Kent. And despite his absolutely ruthless reputation abroad, in death he was treated with immense respect. A monumental brass plate was laid there in his honor, dignified with the official title Harry Paye Armiger. And today, the town of Poole fiercely keeps his memory alive in much, well, brighter ways. Every June, they celebrate the annual Harry Paye Charity Fun Day Parade, drawing thousands of people to Poole Quay for a really great time. You can even literally walk in his footsteps by taking the historical Cockle Trail right through the town to learn about the old pirate trade. His legend even made it into modern literature, with Rosemary Manning writing a 1963 children's novel based on his life, fittingly titled Harry Paye. So after seeing the gritty reality of his crew's daily chores, the sheer scale of his naval rapes, and the blood spilled on both sides, we're left with a really complicated question. Does the historical record show Harry Paye as a hometown Robin Hood of the seas? Or should he be remembered primarily as a ruthless raider who just brought destruction wherever he sailed? I'll leave you to think about that, because that is the fascinating, unresolved legacy of Harry Paye.